Hey, let's go.
And they, to this day, and in fact, Pat Bolin was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and the family invited me to the Hall of Fame ceremony last summer.
Wow.
No.
That
And
says it all.
and so I just want to keep tying this back in. The organization believes in their cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders haven't disappointed them. They gave them the tools, but women in sports supporting other women and finding their excellence, it's a different conversation than men, and we'll bust into that. I'm sure will show up in this session. I hope it does, because I think we're inventing that future right now. I don't think those words have been spoken, and I want the guys sports and the girls sports to be working together on this.
Did you
And
did you feel like did you glean anything from those championship, like coming back to you? I know you gave them a lot. It sounds like it was a one-way thing in a lot of ways, but as somebody that's
no.
interested in championships and that mentality, what did you glean back from Elway or whoever the Pat Bolin or Coach Shanahan? What
Oh
did
my
you get
God.
back?
Well, in every single case, like the catch,
Yeah.
I process the magic of that, the alchemy, not magic, the
Yeah.
alchemy.
Right.
The alchemy is you get, and this is the truth for every sports fan. That's why we are so passionate. It's a drama that you don't know how it's going to work out, like how you maintain. And this is really part of what's kept Chuck and I connected all these years. It's championship mentality.
Right.
And in fact, I mean, it's funny. I'm not an athlete. I don't play a sport where I'm out there doing that thing, but my own personal fitness routine, I call, I have kind of a little program called the Championship Season. A few things I learned on the sidelines. Thanks for setting me up like that, Tommy. You didn't even know it. You didn't even know it. My book, my upcoming, yeah, exactly. You set it up, I'll knock them down.
That's absolutely right.
I'm so glad you asked me that. But anyway, I just, even in my Hollywood career, the level of excellence and the symphony of it, the peak performance of it, I see peak performance in all its forms. If I am working with on stage, great actors, great singers, there's a very physical component to all of that too. So the fitness world, the fitness aspect of this, there's no place where that energy isn't. My job is to interpret it. My job is to athletic, even the cheerleaders, they're not just dancing around on the sidelines. They are interpreting the emotion, the athleticism and the emotion, the heart. Everything should feel like it feels right now out there. It should mirror that, and it should happen live. So that's what makes it different.
I always loved NFL films when they would mic up the guy for the whole game. I thought, to me, I was living through those guys. I was like, wow, that's how a guy talks. That's how an NFL guy talks. That's what
totally. What do they say in the locker room? Well, here's the thing. You guys probably know this. I didn't. Unfortunately, the locker room was quiet for a really long time.
Well, for a really long time.
We didn't know. We thought you Vince Lombardi for 10 minutes. We did. I did. I didn't know. It turns out not that action oriented. You know what I mean?
Got to make adjustments and get back out there, score.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, take a second to breathe.
Yeah. So when we talk about guys coaching versus girls coaching, I mean, you guys are in their heads. There is a certain amount of, I hate that guy. He hate me. He hate you. And he hate, you know what I mean? Which is, I mean,
we're still talking about that guy.
I know.
Can I ask you a question about what I kind of heard you earlier, and you were talking, I feel like there was a little bit of mama bear going on with protecting the gals and making sure that they were pros and making sure they were allowed to be professional. And it's a huge thing for me being a male coach in a female game, like what am I hamstringing the ladies if I stick up for them too much? Do I defend them? Is it some sort of fairy tale, like some sort of knight in shining armor protecting the damsels? And I don't, but I do. I'm super duper hard on them as far as what I expect. We whatever.
Take
But
me back,
my
take me
problem is
back.
I always have to have this situation where I go after an umpire for them, because these umpires, and it's a different sport. I don't know, but sometimes when a girl strikes out looking or a baseball player strikes out looking, the umpire does some big move. You know, they made fun of
Right.
it in the Naked Gun movies, but
Right.
I don't like that grandstanding, because I feel like the girl is in a bad spot. It's probably the worst spot she's been in the whole
Oh,
week, as far, you know, she's like,
interesting.
geez, I just let the
Interesting.
team down. I just struck out looking. I look like a fool. And then this clown is dancing around. So I'll go after the guy, and I get a lot of traction for that. And I don't know if it's appropriate traction. I don't know if it's genuine, but the girls will be loyal to me after I do that. And I want to kind of I want to ask you, because I can ask a bunch of ladies, but you have both sides. You have the sports side, the champion side, and you also know, you understand the female athlete. Am I doing something wrong there? Am I crossing the line? Am I earning it cheaply?
No, 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 no. I don't think you are. And I think there is a really big part of this, a big lane that is not male or female, it's sports.
Right.
And I
I don't
think,
coach girls. I coach athletes.
yeah, yeah. And, I'm not sure that I could say that as confidently, maybe, maybe, but I mean, and I'm on the entertainment side, so it's a little
Yeah.
bit different. But no, I don't think it's cheap. And I think everybody needs to see their coach straighten everybody out, asking
Right.
excellence from everybody. And certainly if they're not in a place to turn around, they don't get to, that's in the coach's lane for sure. But let me ask you, when you were a guys, like, take your mind back to before your first meeting with your first team.
Right.
Tell me what was going through your head when you're going to have your first team meeting, or going, wow, I have to do this. Like, what was your own, how am I going to approach question?
I mean, for me, I think there's a lot of value in winning and being a winner. I think winners win. That's kind of the idea. And I wanted to let people know that. I wanted to let people know that it was okay to do what you had to do to win. It was okay to make that kind of commitment, that sort of the top of the pyramid that nobody else is doing, you're doing it. And with the ladies, it had a lot to do with the gender, like the idea that, you can be a tough woman, because I was raised by a single mom. She was tough as nails. And that idea that a lot of times my girls were tougher than their boyfriends. Their boyfriends were sissies, these fake macho 17-year-old boys. And these girls would slide head first. They would skin their knees up. They would take a ball off the arm. They would have a black eye, and they were ballers. But society at that time wasn't really into that. Quite frankly, they might be called names, for, some sort of dyke or some sort of awful thing, and it was hard for them, and they had to dance. It was like, do I wear lipstick or do I not wear lipstick? Do I put my hair up in a ponytail or do I blow it out? Like, I mean, these are ridiculous things that these girls have to go through. It's total trash. And I would just like, no, just be a ball player. Put on your ball player hat, be a ball player. And
That's beautiful. I think that's beautiful.
And win.
Yes. And
don't come out here not to win. We're going to win.
And win. Yeah. Well, and basically interesting what you're talking about with the, how do I wear my hair, or what is this, or do I have to be feminine or whatever? That's what's holding them back from the and win clause. Unleash it. This is a place where you can unleash it. But don't you think it's universal? I think this is also rich territory. What are we teaching our guy athletes?
Absolutely.
That is actually there's a point of diminishing return in their real lives.
That's right.
It makes them good athletes. So you've got your sport, and then you come out of your sport and you need to be human and civilization as well. The same, you can't bear down on everybody in the school, you fake 17-year-old kid. Like, you have to teach both. And I do think football, the whole idea of class, and we're teaching these guys, all men's sports are pretty aggressive. I think it's different for women, but they need to be the same.
Well, we've had an evolution. Chuck and I have coached long enough now where there's been an evolution where the behavior that I played with and the behavior that Chuck played with was not acceptable anymore as a male. and it's hard. It's the opposite now. Like we're trying to get some of these guys like, come on, man. You know, this
Right.
is war. This is
Yeah.
warrior stuff here. You know, you gotta bang, you gotta hit, you gotta be tough, you gotta put your will on somebody. And that sort of, there's some kids that are really into that. They're like, oh yeah, that's why I've been wanting that. You know, that's why I came out. And there's other kids that are like, gee, I don't know if my mom would approve of that, or I don't know if my dad would like that, or I don't know if the principal is going to yank me off the field, or, you know, and sort of, and I love the idea that you have to control that. You know, I love the idea that the young men are forced into controlling their emotions and control and maybe losing it a little bit. I know Chuck and I really love those experiences where the kid will just like, F you, coach. And then he'll catch himself and you're like, all right, yeah, let's go. All right, use that now. You know, I'm not offended. I'm a grown man. Let's go. You know. So
Well,
I just,
I know. Go, Chuck. Go.
It's just way easier to rein an athlete in than
Right.
it is to get an athlete to go forward like
Right.
that. And when I have minimal experience coaching girls, but I did in my training days. I had a softball team that started training with me. That was my first experience coaching girls, and they were a good softball team. And I knew the coach real well. And he said they can handle it, Chuck. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, they were 11, 12, and 13 years old. So it was really, I was a little frightened of the whole thing because obviously, Tommy, I had a reputation of being a little bit intense and,
Right.
and being coaching up and being, boisterous and those kind of things. And so I just went out and started slowly. But the one thing that I figured out, and I made it a point at the end of our first workout to say, was it too much for you? No, coach, we're ready to go. We'll be back ready to go. And they came back. And what I realized over the course of, I trained them for about 4 months and they really were amazing. But what I realized is that they were tougher than the guys were.
Oh yeah.
They weren't looking to me to give them a way out, or they weren't looking to me to give me that look on their face where, if I look at them this way, like boys do, guys look at you and give you a look,
guys.
hang their head, slowly across the line, hanging bent over. These girls wanted no part of that. And they pushed each other to the point where the captains came to me probably about 4 or 5 workouts in and said, you need to get on our ass.
Yeah, turn it up.
You're being really nice to us, and we love what you're doing, but we got some girls that aren't putting forth the full effort. Well, those kids went out and they won 2 or 3 big tournaments and won championships, and they made shirts with Willig Brothers on the back and stuff, and they were really grateful. And it was intense, and we got after it some good. But it was really interesting to see that because coaching is the greatest manipulation on the planet. If anybody that says you're
like,
manipulative,
yeah.
and I take offense to that, I'm a nut. I'm being dishonest, because we have to manipulate people to do things that a normal human being wouldn't do.
They won't do.
And
But you have to back it up too. The secret to girls is, and you guys have just described it. The secret to girls is we're personal best.
Right.
We're all personal best. That's what we're not competing, like go get that guy though. We're also, our contact is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Like we know our rights in the situation and we're going for personal best. And if you tell us, I think we're so hungry for that kind of training, because it's new or we value it, but, right. And we motivate each other. Again, I feel like the boys and, not in every case, but the boys are sitting back waiting for their coaches to do this big dog and pony show so that it makes them dance.
Yeah.
Our girls showed up to dance. That's what they showed up for. Right. And I, like you, Chuck, I've had the captain of my Clippers dance line grab me. I felt like she grabbed me by the collar, threw me up at the against the wall and went, we need you here. You need to take those guys, those girls, and I loved her for that. I was like, I am all in for you, my darling. Let's go.
Softball is pretty cool because it's a little bit slower paced than something like football or soccer, and so I get to stand next to an athlete. While shagging balls or, in between a drill.
Oh, cool.
And I say, hey, I'm trying to give you an idea of what a guy could be like. Tell me if I'm doing something wrong. And they have the green light. Like, no, that was ridiculous. You can't do that. Or, yeah, you know what? You're not pushing hard enough. And I'll accept their feedback. It doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. And I'll tell them that, well, I don't believe that you're taking it the right way, or that's not what it's supposed to be. Let's talk about what it should be. So that's the beauty of that. And then at least those girls have one relationship with the guy that is sort of meaningful and is safe, even though I'm loud like Chuck. And I tell them, I said, if you can put up with me, if you can negotiate with me, you can negotiate with any CEO, because I'm going to get after you. I'm going to push you. And if you can stand up to me, we're good. And they're like, okay. I say, if you want to practice your job interview, let me know. All those fun things that we get to do in high school.
That's awesome. That's
It's
awesome.
really neat. It's really neat, Jay, to meet the girls. We had a girl on not too long ago, Tara, who is a softball player, who now is a college softball coach, and had just had her baby, and is obviously growing up. But you can, when I meet the girls that Tommy coached, you can tell that Tommy was hard and he was intense, but there's such a loyalty that is left over, that the things that were taught besides that intensity and that were really meaningful to those people that played for him. So
I tell the girls, I'm like, all these skills I take over to the boys. That's why I'm a good football coach. I never say it the other way. I'm like, you girls teach me so much that I can use over here with these little sissy boys on the football team dressed up in their costumes,
I remember I saw a practice. I think I'd come over to see Chuck's at the new stadium, the new deluxe stadium, or maybe it was still being built. And I just remember I saw your guys do lunges across the field. And, and I called them out on it. I'm like, really, coach? That, because for dancers, lunges are going to they have line, they have form, they have balance, they are beautiful, they are moving like gazelles across the field. There is intention. It's all that. I'm like, really? Those lunges?
Sloppy.
And he's like, what was wrong with our lunches? Look at those.
Yeah, I took a beating, man. There's no doubt about it. I'll tell you what, we got better.
They took a beating. They took a beating after that.
They certainly did.
My girls, Tommy, I may be the same as you, the exact same speech. I'm a woman. That's a relationship with you. That's a true mentor. That I'm on your side and I'm going to ask something of you and all that kind of stuff, Right. They may not have, you said it so clear, they may not have one guy. Well, they may not have one girl either.
Right.
I read something really interesting, a book about it, and it's a really easy read, but she says that women are often accused of being hesitant in the workplace to this day. Mm-hmm. And what would equality look like and all that kind of stuff. And she says, but I wonder how confident men would approach the world if when they grew up, every newscaster with authority was a woman. Right. And every movie studio that decided what stories to tell were women. And then she writes in this book, and then on Friday nights, the whole town came out to watch the girls play soccer under the lights. And the boys had off hours, and they were, wedged in odd hours and times when nobody came. How different would men compete? And I went, wow, that just reset me,
I think the secret to this whole thing is that both Chuck and I have that female role model that was everything. Like I always think of Mr. Willig, Sergeant Willig, and I think, wow, what an amazing male role model. But he was working a lot. And Chuck's mom was the one that was there day in and day out with the grind. And same with my mom. I mean, I didn't, if it wasn't for my coaches, I wouldn't have a male role model, but she was so tough. I'd fall down and she's like, okay, get up. Good deal. Let's go. And I know it was killing her. I know she probably walked in the bedroom and like, oh my God, my son is hurt, or whatever, but she was tough. She was Wonder Woman,
When I was running, I would fall down on asphalt, and it would I would crack on my kneecaps in a way that I went, yeah, that can't be good, No. And my next thought, because part of my inspiration was Mia Hamm and that soccer team.
Right.
And I would say to myself, Mia Hamm's fallen down on asphalt, get the up and keep going.
Right.
And because I would wonder the crack I took on my kneecap if I should be running. And I'm like, Mia would run. And that whole soccer thing, we haven't seen how that goes. And I guess you haven't seen it either. You know, even as coaches, we haven't necessarily got a lot of role models to how that looks for a woman. And it's really, I mean, I'm excited for the new day. And it does catch steam. I mean, we have a long way to go, but you know, there's like that chick gymnast, that beautiful Black girl that is just tearing up the gymnastic because she's bringing, you know, modern music and cool culture. And I'm like, oop, game changer. The sport is never going to be the same after that routine. It's just badass. Not.
We're definitely looking to explore more of that because it's a fascinating thing for both of us. We both have an interest in that, and you know, we have some people that, you know, some WNBA people that you know, we're hoping to get on and you know, just talk about those things, you know, because from the female perspective, I mean, it's very enlightening and it's interesting to me, you know, and so I hope that we can continue to propagate the female athlete and get there. We're running out of time and we're getting to the end of our deal, and I know there's some more stuff that we wanted to talk about. I don't know if we want to get into the championship season, or we invite you back to come back and.
I'm good. This was awesome. This was all here.
Then we're going to have you back, and we're going to have to get into the championship season a little bit because that's
I don't want to get shortchanged
on
this deal, Chuck. Come on.
And
you're so sweet. You're so sweet. Thank you.
But we certainly want to finish up with our speed round of questions that we have for you, and
I love it.
Okay, it's a fun little deal to end up, and we really appreciate you being here and your honesty and sharing all the cool stories. It's going to be a two-parter that we'll be able to put up, and it'll be a lot of fun for our listeners to share in those stories. So
thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I love coming into the clubhouse and talking with the coaches. It's where it all goes. It's where it all happens.
So you want to skip to just the speed round, Chuck? Time-wise?
No, let's go through the whole. Yeah.
All right. So who's one person in your life that meant the world to you, but they don't know?
I feel like every time I have a conversation where someone talks about where they're taking their, like in casual conversation, my friends, like there's so many people that just when they're talking about taking their life up a notch, it takes my life up a notch.
Oh, nice.
Right. So I feel like just about like this conversation, like that ripple effect. So I think almost anybody I have a conversation with, and especially my inner circle, and when somebody's really honest with me, I am inspired like endlessly all the time in every conversation. When someone goes, I can't get this. I'm so, you know, so I'm going to go try and get this. And I find that my game goes up, or somebody going, you know, dang it, I'm trying to walk off this 10 pounds or whatever and stuff. And I like the next day I am.
Right.
It's contagious. Like, so it happens. Almost everybody has inspired me and didn't know it.
Wow. I like that. Whoa. Kind of a global. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What's something every young person should know? One thing.
That they're loved. I mean, if it's God's love, you know, there's just no question that all my risk taking is because I knew I was loved. Like I was well adjusted, and then I had to go. But I've said it a million times because I, you know, when I am working with 20-year-olds, I don't work with kids so much. I used to.
Yeah.
But I take over with the kids right when they can't talk to their parents. So, yeah. So I parent them when they still need parenting, right? All of them. But, you know, I've seen when people make a decision that's bad, when you come to the fork in the road, you know, the thing that makes the decision is if you knew you were loved, no matter how much money, no matter how flawed, no matter how they yelled, no matter, if you knew you were loved, you may screw up or, you know, crash and burn and whatnot, but you don't do the desperate thing that is you can't repair, that you can't take back. You have to know you were loved.
I like that. What would you like to be known for in 50 years?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Now that's the speed round. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, really. Rock and roll.
If you had Bezos money, what would you spend it on to make your country or your community stronger?
Well, for sure, right now, feeding America. There's so many people. I'm really in touch with food insecurity, and the basics like water insecurity. In this COVID time, I think we've all been trying to figure out how we can make a difference and still stay safe and whatnot. And I'm just so aware of those issues. If we can just make everybody fed, then whatever the innovation in your lane, it's up to you. But if you're hungry and you can't feed your family, then we're not at an innovation at all. So a full belly, and then everybody's able to kind of come at peak performance.
Oh, I love you, Jay. When I was in LAUSD, I had peanut butter and jelly in my refrigerator, and you could come in and make yourself a sandwich.
Yeah.
There's no way to get through the school day.
Yeah.
Without a PB&J in your belly, it's insane.
And why Bezos?
We're not talking about it, Jay. Nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about hunger. Maybe homelessness a little bit, but I mean war. But no.
Well, you would think that COVID and the economy and everybody out of work and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's the point. I absolutely believe 100% we are eligible for a bigger reset because of this shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
We are almost going to we're going to crank the wheels again. Innovation is going to come from all over the place. So
right.
I think we're going to see some really great stuff, but boy, are people hanging on in the meantime, and they just deserve a meal, a hot meal.
Sure.
One of the coolest things that I found out during COVID is that there are a lot of people doing it. There are a lot of people after hunger. There are a lot of people. You just have to seek them out. It's not getting the play.
Right.
We talk about all the time that what's getting the play is the negative, nasty bullshit. What's not getting enough play is all those people out there doing something. And if you seek it out, the internet's a beautiful thing because you can seek out the people that are doing something and you can get involved. I don't mean to get too heavy at the end here, but that's
wow, Chuck.
Chuck.
But I've learned that.
Jesus,
that's
Chuck.
important to me. And I want to make sure we get to the 5 albums. Her
Oh yeah.
album.
Oh no, I can't give away my trade secrets.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the 5 desert island albums for you?
I'm going to kick it off with Dred Zeppelin's greatest hits. Dred Zeppelin is a reggae Led Zeppelin band.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, Dred Zeppelin's greatest hits. It's really unexpected, but it plays big. I always, although it seems like I want to update it, but I always say the Doors double set because it's all that Roadhouse blues that I love so much and I need desperately. I would take Bruno Mars, which is, I got to have a dance thing, and I'm sure I would do. I would have to do something classic, like maybe a Prince. I'd have to think about that. But that would be one. And I need some, like my fifth is, I would take Peter Frampton's Comes Alive because it's close and near and dear to my heart, a classic rock and roll. But I do need an indie band. I would take Amy Winehouse. I don't know.
I mean, that's legit. That's legit.
Yeah, I can't live without Amy.
What's the record you need to change the momentum? It's the Super Bowl, it's the NFC Championship game, and we need to change momentum. It's the fourth quarter, 3 minutes to go. Things aren't going our way. What's the go-to song?
TV timeout.
I hear the buildup. I need to know what city I'm in, and
San Francisco.
I'll tell you why. Oh, well, you know what? I gotta play Denver. I gotta play Denver because Denver's my team, and I'm going
absolutely. Sorry about that.
Vaughan. I'm going with the dirty guitars, Stevie Ray Vaughan,
nice.
mad as hell, edgy off the back. Yeah, I'm like a real gravelly track that's just, and maybe there's a couple. Yeah, I'm gonna just.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send. I'll have to send Jay some Pantera and some stuff like that. Maybe we can find it.
Now that the Pantera that it triggers testosterone. You're hardwired for heavy metal.
Yeah,
you're hardwired for heavy metal.
I know it's like
not my thing. I'm a girl.
Yeah,
I have estrogen. I have estrogen.
All right. We were talking about getting the crowd going. My bad. That's great.
All right, speed
That's
round. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Elvis or Jerry Lee?
Elvis.
Beatles or Stones?
Stones came up first in my head, but
Good.
I'm
That's
not sure
that's exactly
true.
what we want.
Yeah.
Whitney or Shania?
Whitney.
Target or Walmart?
Target.
Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Beer or booze?
Beer came up for me.
Android or iOS?
iOS.
Softball or soccer?
Soccer all day long. Sorry.
No, it's
But
okay.
My dad all day long.
Soccer, man, the 99ers. We're talking about that. That's a
Yeah.
good deal. Beard or clean shaven?
Ooh. How about perfectly manscaped stubble?
Okay.
Right in between. Right in
Goatee.
between.
Yeah.
Seriously thought about. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
All right, I
Otherwise,
like that.
I'm gonna say clean shaven over. I'm not digging this long beard thing. Like that is
Duck Dynasty.
Yeah, I'm not doing the Duck Dynasty thing. No.
How do they eat soup? How does that happen? I don't understand.
It's all in there. It's all in there. It's all in there.
Disgusting. With the straw.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brad Pitt or George Clooney?
Clooney.
Catwoman or Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman. If it's
Beach or
Gal
mountains?
Beach.
Are you
That's a
sure
tough
Denver? Are you sure Denver?
Yeah.
Okay. Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Jay. It was fantastic. It was great spending time with you, and we'll look forward to sneaking you back on when we can give you a chance to recover from our lengthy discussion.
I have to think about it. I hope I didn't
We're all
get
dehydrated.
Yeah,
No,
right.
it'll be fantastic. We'll look forward to it. So
We'll buy the beers next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna